Hi everyone, it's Sherry with Studio 28E, and I'm here to bring you a little video of a little journal that I made. I'm calling her my little Emily, and is just a small little journal. She's 5, about 4.5 by 6, I'm sorry, and she's just one signature, and she's 64 pages, and it's a soft cover. It's made of fabric. There's fabric on both sides, and in the middle there's cardstock, and the fabric has been glued and stitched to both sides of the cardstock. There's a little charm here, matches the colors of the fabrics, and the closure is just this simple bow or piece of fabric, torn fabric, calico, which is green and roses. And I've had this fabric for probably 25 years. I brought it with me from Connecticut, and I had a pretty large chunk of it, and I've been saving it and using it in little bits and pieces here and there. And here is some vintage lace that I got from a friend. I believe it's antique lace as well as vintage. So the cover, I've made a pocket with several layers. Here's some rose printed paper, and this is just a plain paper that's been tea stained or coffee stained, and here's a piece of that green fabric with the roses. And here's a little Tim Holtz girl. Looks like she's sitting on something. And here's a little tulip. It was actually trim and applique kind of trim, like probably for a bridal dress or something. And I cut it down and took a couple of pieces, or one piece of the trim to put with Emily. And then I stamped journal on a little piece of cardstock and inked it up and put it there. And inside the pocket, I made this just a little flip book to, write in, and put a little piece of fabric on the corner with a little acrylic flower with a bead in the center. So she's kind of shabby and ratty, and she's definitely shabby and a shabby chic journal. Inside is a cloth cover, cloth pocket, and here's a tag, and it's got that same rose paper on it, and it's got some of the fabrics here. Here's a pink fabric that I tore, and I made a bow out of it. And on the back is coffee dyed paper. The tab is just a piece of lace. Here's a piece of pink dyed paper with food coloring, and there's the Eiffel Tower. Here is, and I can't remember who did it with the fabric, but here's a flip. I want to say it was Pam from Paper Outpost, and it's a flip, and inside the flip there's a little tag, and it was made with some other scrapbook paper I had in my stash. And I stamped it and put border stamp on the edge and dream down there, and it's got eco dyed paper on the back, and I just used gauze for the little well, it's not really a string, but for the top of the tag. And to hold the flap down, I've put a little round punch there with a little rose in it. On the other side, it's just writing paper with some Tim Holtz polka dotted stamps. This is an decoupaged napkin. The other side, I just folded it over onto my blue dyed, this is cabbage broth dyed paper. This is coffee dyed paper, and there's a little bit of stencil. I had used a doily placemat type thing, and some of it came through onto this. Here's some pink, I think this may be avocado dyed paper. And here's a flip up, fabric flip up. There's some more of the cabbage dyed paper. And on this side, it's got a grid design on it from a barbecue grid that I purchased at Walmart. You can get 3 of them for like $3 in a package. And when you've used them up, they do bend easily. I've had mine for almost 2 years now, and I think they're almost ready to be tossed. They're easily replaced. They're that cheap that you can just toss them. And I got this little punch out from my friend Carol Farney. And here's a piece of fabric behind it. It opens up. Here's another piece of pink paper that I dyed with food coloring. Here's a fleur-de-lis stamp. And here's a tuck that was made with a window envelope. And Melissa Barnes from my Facebook group, Studio 28E. She is an administrator, and she also does some of our swaps. And this is one of the swaps that she was showing us how to do. So we swapped with some of the other members, and I put a bee stamp on it and a fabric ruffle, and I put a little bit of lace behind mine, and it was done with a piece of a window envelope. And it's just the pink dyed paper, and this has a little bit of pink and teal on it, and it's got some of those polka dotted Tim Holtz, just a writing sheet with a border edge stamp on it. And on this belly band I put a butterfly stamp. This was paper I got in a swap. I want to say it came from Martha. Not Martha. Oh, I'm terrible. I can't remember. Gina Martinez, maybe. And here's a little flip I made. And I put this little tab on it so you could pull it to open it. And this also came from Carol Farney, and I put a little piece of lace behind it. Here's a butterfly that I cut out from the fabric that I used for the cover. I put a little piece of dyed lace behind it that was dyed with food coloring, and a piece of fabric, a ballerina stamp, and this is a white paper bag. It has 2 tags in it. This is just Project Life card. And I'm not sure, this is, I can't remember where I got this from. Maybe Gina as well, I'm not sure. On this side I put a fabric ruffle and a bulb pin with a love charm. And here's a butterfly stamp. Some more dyed papers. This one was done with green food coloring. Here's some of that vintage trim. It flips open. And there's a script stamp. This is a flip up reading sheet held down by this little tab here. These little butterflies that I had laid down in between the sheets of paper when I dyed it. And this is a pocket, and it's got a postcard in it. The inside has a signature, and it's got a turquoise doily and some Tim Holtz stamping on it. And the binding ties, I put a little green bead and a pink one. Those are checked glass, I believe. And here's another little writing pad, and I put a cloth cluster. There's lace and several pieces of the fabrics I used within. And then I took some of the strings that came off of the fabrics that I tore and put underneath the layers of fabric, and I put a bead on top of that. Oops. Some more of that Tim Holtz stamp. Here's another tag I made. Here's some of the fabrics that I made into a cluster. I used some bling, and I used one of the tickets that was sent to me in Happy Mail as a tab. And it's got coffee dyed paper on the back. And here's a decoupaged napkin that I used as a tuck spot. Here's green paper. And I'm not sure of the brand name of this paper. was given to me by my mom. And there was very little left, so I cut out a fussy cut around the edge of some of the shapes and added it to the side of this to create a pocket. Added a bow and some gauze and a teacup, and there's a teacup on this with a teapot, and I made a tag out of it, and I put a bird stamp on the back of it. And there's fabric for the tie. Here's another piece of fabric ruffle with a bulb pin, and this one has a little, well, if I can get him to move around here, a little bird charm on it. This is the other side of the paper bag, and it has 2 tags in it. This one's a kind of a cloth tag with a piece of cardstock in the center, and this was done with a die cut, and I put the Eiffel Tower in the center of it. And this tag was made on craft stock, and I put some music sheets on it, and then this is a die. So I tore not a die, embossing folder. So I tore that sheet in half, and I put it on the other side of the tag, and then I had a stamp of a violin, so I put that on there. And these are just little pieces of lace I had, and I rolled them up to make little roses and stuck little beads in them. Thought it was a cute idea. And those just go in there. And there's another piece of fussy cut fabric that I took out of the, the cover, roses and whatnot, and there's some script stamps there. Here's another one of those flip up or flip open, we can write, and I use one of those little tabs here. And there's another one of Carol's stamped images. Some more coffee dye. Here's another belly band, and it's got a bee there and some bees there. There's a vellum sticker I put on this tag, and it's got a lace tab on it. There's some eco-dyed paper, and I've used this ticket to hold it down. This tag I covered with fabric and put a vellum sticker on it. I might have to glue it down. I'll have to check that out after. And on the back, it's just textured cardstock. There's a messy ballerina sticker, kind of made it look a little grungy. There's another one of Carol's die cuts with the bird stamp. This is vintage, possibly antique trim. It's very beautiful. It's blue with glitter, and it flips open. There's another fabric tuck, or fabric flip. There's another one of those flip ups and whatever to write on. Another one of those coffee dyed pages that had one of those doilies or placemats on it. It's the other side of the napkin that I decoupaged on here. Excuse me, live the life you've imagined. It's a pocket that I made with a decoupaged napkin, and I had some kind of it's a finish. It's like a wax sealer ranger. I can't think of what it was called though, that I put over it. But I did the napkin, I decoupaged it, and then I put gesso on it, and then I put Mod Podge over it. Scuffed it, no, I put the Mod Podge over it first, scuffed it up a little bit, and then I put the gesso on it, and then I put the wax over it. And here's a little tag that was made with a napkin. I did the same thing with the gesso and the wax and whatnot, and then I stamped on the back. The best way to perfect the future is to create it. And I put a little lace covering over it. There's more of the script, and here's a writing sheet with the stamped edge. And here's a little tag that has a little bit of bling on it. Button brad, paper ruffle with a piece of lace. And they open, and this just slides over the top of the pocket. the back of, and you can see that's the butterfly I used. That's part of the flowers that I used. And that's the end of that. It is listed in my Etsy shop. I don't have the extras ready yet that will go along with her, but she will come with an extra bag of goodies. Shipping is free, so if you're interested, check out my Etsy shop, Studio 28E, and you know, let me know if you like this video. If you've not subscribed, please do so. I appreciate that. I could use all the new subscribers I can get. And if this sells, or if you'd like something similar, you know, I have enough of this material to make a couple more journals. The little girl in the front may not be the same, but basically it could be, you know, very close. The journal could be very close to this one. So if you're interested in this one or something similar, let me know. Send me a message, and we'll see what we can work out for you. And thank you for watching this video, and I will talk to you later.